Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, picture this. Deep in the Malaysian jungle, surrounded by old rubber plantations, there's this building that just doesn't belong. It's a magnificent, sprawling castle, but it's also a ruin. Today, we're going to peel back the layers on this incredible, unfinished dream.
It's a big question, right? I mean, what really happens when a dream is built with so much ambition, so much love, and then the dreamer is just gone? Does the dream just disappear into thin air?
Well, in this particular case, the answer is no. It doesn't disappear. It becomes a ghost story. This is Kellie's Castle, a place where history, love, and some really terrible luck all collided to create one of Southeast Asia's most famous and, honestly, most heartbreaking hauntings. So to really understand the spirits that people say wander these halls, we have to start with the man himself. We've got to understand him and the powerful dream that drove him to build this place.
Let's meet William Kellie-Smith. He shows up in British Malaya in 1890, just 20 years old, a young Scottish engineer with not much more than ambition in his pockets. But he was smart and he was driven. He made an absolute fortune in the rubber and tin industries. But, money wasn't enough. He wanted a real legacy, something lasting for his wife Agnes and the family he hoped to have.
And then, in 1915, it happened. The catalyst. His son and heir, Anthony, was born. And that was it. William decided he was going to build something Malaya had never seen before, a grand castle that was a testament to his success, a home for his family, and this incredible fusion of his Scottish past and his new Malaysian home.
And let me tell you, this was not just some big house. It was a palace designed to bridge two different worlds, and it was packed with technology that was light years ahead of its time for this part of the world.
William was totally fascinated by the local architecture. So instead of some boring colonial mansion, he imagined this masterpiece of what's called Indo-Saracenic design. Think of it like a beautiful mashup. You've got the Gothic arches from his home in Scotland, mixed with the incredible, intricate designs of Indian temples and Moorish palaces. And to make this dream a reality, he brought in 70 master craftsmen all the way from Madras, India.
The sheer ambition here is just staggering. He planned for Malaya's very first elevator. He was building a 6-story tower that was going to have a tennis court on the roof. And he even included a whole network of secret tunnels. This wasn't just a home, it was a statement.
So, the castle is really taking shape. Things are moving along. But just as World War I was coming to a close, this new invisible enemy started sweeping across the planet, the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. And it found its way to William's remote construction site.
It was devastating. A lot of his Indian workers got sick, and many of them died. The survivors were terrified. They believed the land itself was cursed, and they begged William to build a temple nearby to the Hindu goddess Mariamman. William, showing the kind of man he was, agreed immediately. And in return, his workers did something just incredible. To show their gratitude, they created a small statue of William himself, in his safari suit and hat, and they placed it right up there on the temple roof among the Hindu deities. You can still see it there today.
So with the temple built and the pandemic finally over, work on the castle started up again. The dream was so close he could almost touch it.
By 1926, the main structure was basically done. All that was left was the inside, the decorating, the furniture. So William packed up his family and they headed to Europe to buy all the finishing touches, including that custom-built elevator he'd been dreaming of.
He was on the home stretch. But during a quick side trip from London to Lisbon for a business deal, thousands of miles away from the castle that was his whole world, tragedy struck one last time.
William Kellie-Smith, the dreamer, the builder, died suddenly of pneumonia in a hotel in Lisbon. He was just 56 years old. And with him, the dream of Kellie's castle died too.
His wife, Agnes, was just heartbroken. She couldn't bear to go back. She sold the entire estate and returned to Scotland with her children and never came back to Malaya. And the jungle just started creeping in, swallowing this magnificent structure. What was meant to be this grand symbol of love and success became known to everyone as Kellie's Folly.
An unfinished building often feels like it holds the echo of an unfinished life. And as the years and decades went by, strange stories started to bubble up from the silent, empty ruins.
And as if the story wasn't sad enough, it got even darker during World War II.
The tale goes that the Japanese army used the isolated castle as a place to torture and execute prisoners, staining its history with even more suffering.
So all these layers of history, they gave birth to legends. Visitors, security guards, paranormal investigators, they all tell similar stories. They say they see William's ghost pacing back and forth on that second-floor balcony as if he's still watching over his unfinished home. Others report seeing a little girl in a white dress, believed to be his daughter Helen, peeking out of a window. And from those dark, secret tunnels, some people claim they can hear screams, echoes from that much more violent chapter in the castle's past.
So, what are we supposed to make of all this? Are these just spooky stories we tell ourselves about an old, sad building? Or is there something more going on in those empty hallways?
Well, there are really two ways to look at it, right? On one hand, you've got the scientific view. Old buildings make weird noises, the wind howls through empty corridors, our brains are hardwired to see faces and figures in the shadows. It makes perfect sense. But then, there's the legend. The idea that a dream can be so powerful, a love for your family so strong, that not even death can make you leave. That the spirits here aren't scary, they're just sad. They're just echoes of a beautiful life that never got to be.
In the end, Kellie's castle is this incredible monument to what could have been. It makes you wonder, is it just a pile of bricks being reclaimed by the jungle? Or is it possible for a dream to be so powerful that it actually leaves a piece of itself behind, forever haunting the place it was supposed to call home?